how you doing? This is the Budget King. I want to tell you about Anchor. First off, it's where I make my podcast. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, like Stitcher, you name it. They pretty much let them go anywhere, which you can help out too. You can make money from your podcast with no listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. All right, let me tell you what you do. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Peace. On to the next part of the show. It's time for you to listen to the non-politically biased blue-collar tip specialist, James Davis. He is an expert on cord cutting, bill negotiations. He is an interweb specialist. When it comes to all-around entertainment and budgeting, no one beats the Budget King.
What's up? It's the Budget King. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was thinking about the different things that I could talk about. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to throw out there tonight. I'm on my way home. This is the Budget King. You know what I do? I make my podcast while I'm rolling. Yes, it's cheap. Is it good? That's up for you to decide. Most likely, probably not. My podcast, my podcast are low budget. I was going to say I'm like the Clerks of podcasting, but you may not even know what Clerks is. That's all right. But what I want to talk about, that's one of my catchphrases, I guess, is why is Indiana such a great place to live? Right? Some people will be like, yo, you guys got Gary, Indiana. It was like the murder capital of the world. You're right by Chicago. Murder capital of the world, basically. You know, we're like the armpit of America, some people refer to us as, because they got all them steel mills right there south of Lake Michigan. And some people think it might smell the burning steel. Some people smell money right there. You know, we have Ford. We have the steel, a bunch of steel places around there. Industry. Lots of work. We've got corn. You know, we got South Bend. We got the Fighting Irish. David Letterman comes from Indiana. We got some other stuff that comes from Indiana. But what else we got? We got flat land. Some people might like mountains. They're beautiful, but, you know, we have a mudslide. It's like maybe you drive down the road and maybe a ditch kind of gives way a little bit, but we ain't got houses usually falling off of flat land. You know what I mean? Like when it falls, it just sort of stays where it's at. So, do we get tornadoes? Yeah, but not as many as Kansas. We don't get that many. Do we get bad snow? Yeah, we do, but not as much as Minnesota. We get a little lake effect that kind of hits us a little bit, but this year we're having a great winter. Do you guys have poisonous snakes? Somewhere, but it ain't something we worry about. Like down south, y'all got to worry about poisonous snakes, spiders, all kinds of stuff. You know, we might have some poisonous stuff here. We ain't worried about it. I ain't got no bears attacking me. You know, we ain't got bears. We ain't got, you know, a lot of them dangerous, like I said, bugs, animals. Yeah, it's pretty safe when it comes to that stuff. Do we have crime? Yeah, but it's pretty much in certain areas. It's like, you know, we have some gang violence. You know, we have city people, we have redneck people, we got all kinds. of people here. This is, we're close to Chicago. There's a lot of stuff to do in Chicago. Chicago gets a bad reputation, but there's a lot of stuff to do in Chicago, and possibly some of the best food in Chicago. Tell you what, me and my wife, we went to a Brian Callen concert. We seen him. Brendan Schaub was there too. They're both fighter and kid, but Brian Callen was doing a stand-up. Me and my wife went to this honky-tonk place right around the corner from where the theater was. I'll tell you what, some of the best barbecue honky-tonk food we ever ate. And I think the people were like Mexican. I think the owners were Mexican, and they had the best honky-tonk barbecue. Yeah, good stuff. If I had a Facebook page, I'd post a picture of the food. Maybe one day I'll do something with it, maybe with the Twitter or something. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com, / _the_budget_king, Instagram, the Budget King, the website, thebudgetking.com, which I say that quite a bit. So, what was I talking about? Oh, Indiana, how awesome Indiana is. Yeah. So, what's really great about when you're not driving through mountains, you get pretty good fuel mileage. We do get deer. I don't like deer too much. So that part kind of sucks. But at least they're not like sneak attack. We ain't got a whole lot of woods. We got some woods area, but a lot of it's like cornfields and stuff like that. So when the corn's down, you can just see miles away. It's great. You can look, but what's really great is the fact that the majority of the state, people do work. You do hear some bad things, this and that, but we have some big cities where there are some problems, but that's not the whole state. For the most part, people in Indiana are very kind and decent, and even in the big city, like I was from the city, and it was nice. You go to the city. When I'm talking about city, I'm talking about like South Bend, even Fort Wayne and all that. There's things to do. So what's great about it is you can kind of live away from the city, but still be close to the city. Now, as far as southern Indiana, there is actually some very hilly areas, but then once you get farther south, then you got bobcats and stuff like that, and you got to worry more about your dogs being outside and all that. But I still don't think it's a real problematic issue down there. But Indiana kind of gets this reputation of like we're all just a bunch of dummies from Indiana. But it's like, listen, Michael Jackson's from Indiana. People loved him. One of the biggest pop stars of all time. Maybe, there was some other issues going on with him here and there, whether true or not. Like I said, I'm non-politically biased. I'm non-celebrity biased. I don't know the facts on everything, so I won't push on anything. But, by the way, I'm turning right there. But Indiana, I like to consider it like a working man state. It's just a lot of people work, and you talk about budget. Yeah, we do have our areas of people that have financial problems. We do have our areas of some homelessness, but we don't got as many homeless people as like California. It's like every state has their issues. Like Montana or South Dakota and some of them areas. They have, maybe they got some work out there, with some riggers and, they're digging for fracking. I don't know what all they do out there, but I've heard living out there is very expensive. Very expensive. We can run up to our Menards over here, and sometimes you get pizzas, like Jack's Pizzas, 5 for $10. You know what I mean? A lot of times they're sold out. You believe it or not, Menards, they sell themselves a lot of Jack's Pizzas there, but cheaper than the grocery store sometimes. But Yeah, I didn't get all that. But Indiana, we've got Subaru, Toyota. We've got we got industry, like we make cars. We farm. We got cattle. We got eggs. You name it. And so Indiana, and the nice thing about it is, like I said, not only is it a great place to live, but it's cheap to live here. It's not very expensive to live here in Indiana. And if you're like, that's a boring, I like some scenery. Yeah, we don't got the ocean view. Some people got a view of Lake Michigan, though. And there's some very beautiful areas. And that's the other thing. Even if you don't like Indiana, tell you what, Michigan's right above us. You talk about a beautiful state. You can drive to northern Michigan, and there's Kid Rock wrote a song about a lake that he used to hang out at, and there's some beautiful lakes up there. So even if you don't like Indiana, we're not far from anywhere else. You drive Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. Tennessee, beautiful. I've talked about Tennessee in podcast. We're not far from Wisconsin, where they got the Wisconsin Dells. I mean, everything's a full day drive away. A lot of things like that are, but you go to Indianapolis. We got the Colts. And if you like Corvettes, you could drive down to Kentucky. They got themselves I believe it's a Corvette museum down there. So, just saying, Indiana rocks. Indiana's a great state. I ain't worried about getting attacked by the bear if I go out in my backyard and want to take a leak. Maybe that might offend some people. I'm just saying, like, I live out in the country, and it's just comfortable. The county I live in, it's so safe. Like, you could walk from one side of the county to the other, and some people might say, you need a ride? And they really just want to give you a ride. They're not going to hurt you. You know what I mean? They're not going to do anything to you. They're just, hey, you need a ride? And, it's just one of the places where people are good to each other. Yeah, you have your few bad people. Don't get me wrong. But all in all, Indiana is a great place to live. We don't have all the people that bitch about the tiniest little things. Everybody, it's like, hey man, let's all just get along. And you know what else is funny? We don't have recreational marijuana. But I swear, people get along in this state. You don't have to have marijuana to get along. Or maybe, we're just too busy working. So, I ain't cutting down other states. I'm just saying that Indiana is a great place. And, I don't know what else to say about it. Well, I guess I do my podcast from Indiana. So right there's just a reason enough to be like, hell yeah, Indiana. Sure, we got the name Hoosier because we couldn't know who our daddy was. They're like, they like to claim it's like, Hoosier, like people knock on your door. People knock on your door. Sorry, I had to tell somebody they can go first at a four-way. They're like, it's the Hoosier state, like, because like we just let anybody come in and be like, Hoosier. And they're like, yeah, they're the Hoosiers. They're the Hoosiers, but nah, I like to say they call us Hoosiers because people be like, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Nah, that ain't the truth, but that's what I like to say. All right, well, that's my podcast. This is the Hoosier Daddy state, according to the Budget King, but, yeah, I mean, around here people still wave at each other and are kind, and, there's a few other states that's just like us, but I like to think Indiana is is just sort of a place that people, you always hear about the bad, but nobody talks about the good. So I'm just going to tell you that my wife and I don't think we'd want to live anywhere else. Maybe other parts of Indiana, but we're like, hey, we lived in Florida, man, we got to worry about hurricanes wiping us out or getting bit by something and putting us in the hospital. And then you move up north, and man, the snow is just so darn bad. You move out east, you got to worry about hurricanes or, just Indiana has a lot of industrial areas here, a lot of jobs, and just, it's just good for the most part. If you don't have a criminal background, and you go apply for a job, and I mean, you can work just about every state. Like I said, we have our issues, but I don't know. The podcast is getting kind of weird because I'm about home, but I need to leave off on something good. I don't know what to tell you, but that was a weird feeling right there, turning that corner. I think might have ran over something. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The other beautiful thing about deer running around here is that, there's a lot of people that like hunting here. And if you're anti-hunting, Indiana's not the place for you because, man, I'll tell you what, we got a lot of hunters here. Yep, you're going to hear my flashers here in a minute because I'm checking my mail. Well, we got something. Got something else. That's it. All right, let's see what this is. Hey, look. The DirecTV, yeah, right. That's funny. I guess I'm going to leave off on a note about telling you what podcast to go listen to. Yeah, DirecTV, yeah, they suck. Just figure I'd tell you that. Philo, 58 channels for $20. I preach about it all the time on here. But you go check out my podcast talking about Philo. I run through every single channel they got till I drive you nuts. And I have a link around there somewhere too if you go listen to that podcast on. I think you watch it on my YouTube channel, or you can go listen to my podcast. I think I leave a link, but it gives you $5 off. But you definitely do not want to pay for DirecTV unless you really got to have, like I said, they don't have sports channels like ESPN, and they don't have your news channels like Fox and CNN. But you get all that stuff on Facebook anyways. And if you want local sports, you can still get an antenna. And like you get Philo, they take away your antenna. So $20, what you paying for your cable? $75, $150. There you go. Who would have known I would have got a tip for you right at the end here. All right, folks, like I said, Indiana don't suck. I don't care what you've heard. All right, that's it. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.